Welcome into 11 Personnel, where we are hitting the road. We're not just hiding behind our little computer screens. We are at Monocello Bank here in technically Nicholasville, Kentucky, just on the outskirts of Fayette County off Harrodsburg Road. Is this technically Harrodsburg Road? Is it Nicholas?
We call it Harrodsburg Road. Yeah, Nicholasville, Lexington on the outskirts. Like you hit though.
Yeah, right by Keene Trace, one of the many Monocello Bank locations. And Chad's here joining us today to talk a little bit more about Monocello Bank and get you fired up for Kentucky football season. And I was already happy when I walked in. I saw the Cats shirts, and then I talked to Steve. Steve was a Kentucky cheerleader?
Yes, sir. He was.
So we got blue runs through the veins of Monocello Bank. That's clear.
Absolutely does. Yes, sir.
Now, I've always tried to stress this. I'm not a numbers guy. Like I'm the words guy. He's the numbers guy.
He's the take guy.
Yeah, just give me the takes and the words. But from the numbers perspective, I always tell people you got to bank local, because local banks, they're going to do you a favor. So how exactly does that work? Why are you all able to help people out better than some of those big commercial branches?
It's a great question, and it's kind of a long answer, and I'll try to make it a quick one. And I know getting into financials, it's not as exciting as talking about Cutter Bowley or how many donuts Ryan Lemon can eat. I get it. I think what sets us apart is our customer service standards. When big banks come in, when's the last time you got a birthday card from a bigger bank?
When's the last time I got a birthday card from Luckett? Never.
I sign them every month. It's our experience here. It's our customer service. It's what we do for our people. It's our community. We come in. Obviously, you want to do your financial services here when you come in, but we're going to talk about whatever's on your mind that day, whether it be weather, sports, whatever it is. I think that sets us apart from the bigger banks currently. I mean, we've been around since 1895. We've been around. It's a long time. We still operate out of our main building in Monocello, Kentucky, still there, the same one that we started in. So we have built a reputation on customer service and pleasing people, and that's what sets us apart.
Monocello, great lake country. Love going into Lake Cumberland, Monocello. They got the dock down there. I mean, it's a great place. But like you said, not just in Monocello. Y'all are in, is it 20 different branches?
We have 20 plus locations in 14 different counties, if I'm not mistaken. So it's either 20 or 24 locations, 14 different counties. So we are set up across Kentucky. We have people virtually everywhere. We love the state. We are big KSR people. This is UK cat country. So that's what we're here for. So.
Yeah, and if you aren't like right next door, stone's throw away, a hop, skip, and a jump, NBCbank.com. It's very easy. You can check out their rates, unlock maybe some of that equity in your home, and do a lot of projects. And I know people freak out about the interest rates. I don't really know what it means, but I know that you are going to get the good rate, right?
We do the best we can. We are very competitive. Again, a lot of that's up to the Fed about these rates we can do. But yes, we try to stay as competitive as possible in this market. Yes, sir.
I just like that Steve was able to explain it to me, and I can't even regurgitate it, right? Like you can have Bush Hamden telling me quotes and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, talking with Steve or Chad here or anybody at Monocello Bank, I understand it, but I think I do. But you all are the experts, so I'll let the experts handle it, and you all take care of all my business.
Yes, sir. If you have any questions, we'll break it down to you after the show. If you want to talk, we can do that too.
Good, because we got a little savings. Maybe we're going to try to crank it up a lot. I saw some of the CD rates. Those are still looking good. And I was also told, like, maybe jump now before the Fed starts messing with those rates some too. So
that's kind of what we're hearing too. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it looks like it may tick down very soon. So the CD rates currently, I have a rewards checking with a good APY. It's something you want to look into now for sure.
But then if they go down too, then you might want to shop for a home and all that sort of stuff. So we're happy y'all are having us out here at Monocello Bank. We appreciate y'all partnering with us. And I just telling you before, I'm getting, it's third week in August. I'm getting a little like antsy. So how are you feeling about this season?
I am about as nervous as I can be listening to KSR on a daily basis. You know, there's highs and lows, and I want to be hopeful and optimistic, and I really trust in our guys and Mark Stoops, and I just hope for a great season. Let's see what happens.
I do a thing, and I don't know if this will take away some of my superstition, like if it takes away the bad luck by admitting it, but I do the thing where I hold my breath every time I drive over a bridge, and you make a wish, and I'm just like, just get us a Birmingham. Just a Birmingham Bowl. I'll be happy with it. Just get us some wins. Get us some big wins at home. I got that Ole Miss game circled. That would be nice. It'd also be nice to be Tennessee. I can't stand those guys.
I can tell you what we're not going to get beat at is tailgating. It's going to be a great tailgating season.
Oh, it feels like it today, too. It's nice and cool. We can't wait to get out there, Chad. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you
today.
guys for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. And we're almost here, Luckett. We've almost made it. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not the light that Peak brought, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We're almost at the end of fall camp.
Yeah, I just want to. Can we just pod here every week?
It's nice.
We're not a split screen. You can have to put a split screen right here.
I don't have my kid barging in. You don't have,
Carl's not on the podcast.
barking away.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's good to get out on the road, hanging out at Monocello Bank. They got location here. There's one in Louisville. There's one in Lexington. So we're happy to be out on the road, happy to be partnering with Monocello Bank for, this is 3-4 years now? Something like that?
Yeah, I think they're going on 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this season's the best one yet. Look, I was trying to think of how do we, because let's be honest, it's all about packaging the right way to talk Kentucky football now, because we've touched them all, right? We just hit a home run, or we're doing our trot around the bases. I feel like we've hit on a little bit of everything, but it feels like now is the right time to do a vibe check. Just how are we feeling? What are we thinking about what's being said around the Kentucky football fall camp? Because I was not expecting, this is the most boring week usually, and yet somehow the words they've been saying have been the most newsworthy.
Yes, I think it's interesting what individuals are willing to talk about and which ones they aren't.
Yeah. Let's just start off the top. We presume that Zach Calzada is going to be the starting quarterback for, I don't know, as soon as he transferred here. It's kind of part of the plan. It's a little weird that they're seemingly unwilling to say nice things about him. We heard, he's got a lot of experience. I like to joke that I can't wait to hear about how experienced Zach Calzada is. But I've gotten to the point where I think it's kind of weird how much they're willing to say about Boley, but not necessarily Calzada, who is still not technically the named starter. Boley's pushing the needle. They're battling. So what do you make of all of that?
Yeah, I think Zach Calzada is the starter. I don't think that's ever been in question. I think there was an overall philosophy by Mark Stoops that we're not going to everything's a position battle and we're not going to say who's starting or who isn't. So I think that it kind of falls under that umbrella. And I think they're making a concerted effort to do what they can do to keep Cutter Boley engaged, to keep him ready, to keep him locked in for what may be a long season where he maybe doesn't play for long stretches, but he's still an important part. And I think a huge part of their kind of, long-term plan is so they don't have to go in the portal after this year, is for Cutter Boley to be able to come in and be the starting quarterback next year. And so I think keeping him engaged, and let's face it, there's something no one's talked about, Nick. Zach Calzada was injured at A&M.
Yep.
Had a banged-up knee. Left shoulder, didn't play at Auburn.
Yep.
And he missed the last 5 or 6 games at his first season in Incarnate Word. So he's got a little bit of an injury.
Some scars there.
Record.
Mm-hmm.
And we've known Butch Hamden has a little bit of track record of changing quarterbacks.
Right.
So there is a very good opportunity that you're going to need Cutter Boley at some point to play big snaps this year. And so I think they're making a concerted effort to keep him engaged. But he is the only really individual player, outside of Seth McGowan, I would say, that they have really kind of gassed up all talking season in and season on offense.
Really, they might throw a bone to some of the true freshmen, but that's almost like acknowledging that they're not – these guys probably aren't going to play, but we like them. So I think that part of you're exactly right. But I also think there is something, too, that Boley has made drastic improvements. And that part can't be overshadowed by the consequences of why they're saying it, right? The stuff behind it, the reasoning behind it.
He also is the golden ticket in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because he's the guy, he's the bright hope in a lot of ways. And you want to keep that alive, keep that candle burning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to us, too, because, like you mentioned, I just want to get to Birmingham. They have to grind through this season, find ways to win games, reset their culture, reset how they operate and how they play. And I think all that's going to be a work in progress probably first year. Because, again, 13th year head coach is kind of doing rebuild. It's not something we really see. I don't know, like, how can you get it back after you lost? And we've talked about that. But a key ticket in all of that for them is Boley being able to be a guy that can potentially elevate them. And so you want to keep that belief that can still be something the program has coming down the chimney sooner rather than later.
Well, and to your point, too, like about just the injuries and what it could mean. I mean, 3 out of the last 9 years, Kentucky's just rode with one guy. Devin Leary's 2023 season, Will Levis in 2021.
When you had no backup.
Yeah, and then Steven Johnson's 2017 season, where I think he missed maybe a couple drives here and there.
The Tennessee game, like Drew
Yeah.
Walker had to play a couple series.
Yeah, but for the most part, like, that's just the nature of the beast. I did, like, this is one of those cases where I'm like, okay, Bush, but he said he doesn't want to rotate guys because we noted that, Taylor Green and Massoden,
Maddox Madsen. Like
Madsen.
Mad Dog Madsen.
Maddox the Mad Dog. I mean, that's way better than Mark Madsen, right? He's the Mad Ducks. He's the Mad Ducks. Led them Boise State to a playoff. They rotated quarterbacks there. We had the issues with Gavin Wimsett last year. We didn't know what the hell was going on. They're just rotating guys in and out. But Bush said, like, I don't want to do that because in those instances we were trying to use a running element. And I believe him when he says that, hey, we don't want to make the same mistakes we made in the past with running a quarterback when we didn't need to. But I don't believe him when he says, I don't really want to play 2 guys. I want to go with one guy and I want to stick with him because what was it? Was it Jake Browning at Washington he pulled?
Yes.
2? I mean,
On the Pac-10 or Pac-12 championship team. They offense kind of labored there in November. He pulled him out. I believe they played Cal and they benched him.
so big picture question, Luckett. Does that excite you? Do you get fired up when you see your team rolling quarterbacks in, or is it, oh God, we're rolling in quarterbacks?
Yeah, here. Number one, like, Taylor Green was a starter at Boise State, and then they benched, like, they did kind of bench him. It wasn't just like, Taylor Green was the second guy they wanted to bring a run out.
Right. He started, and then Madsen came in, and then they kind of would do the flip-flop thing.
Yes.
Then Madsen got hurt in November, and Green finished out the season.
Right, and had a monster game in the Mountain West Championship that year. When really, after they fired their coach and they kind of rose up, and then brought that into the next season. And you know what Boise State did this last season. But, Nick, I keep coming back to this. I think, like, it's easy to talk about the quarterback. What are you going to get from the quarterback? Receivers, what are you going to get from the receivers? You need quarterbacks to make some plays and extend plays on third down and provide some playmaking and take care of the football. But it really doesn't matter. It just comes back. They are all in on this offensive line rebuild. And with these backs that they've got, that's the offense. That's Mark Stoops' team. That's what they want to do. So it doesn't matter, like, unless they can run the ball, and not only that, can they run it when teams know you're running it.
So
Mark Stoops talk about we've got to be able to run it then, because that is the offense, and then it's building stuff off of that.
That means that when Texas is in town and third series you see Cutter Boley roll out there, you're not going to be panicking because it just doesn't matter. You're like, come on, let's bring it on. He was good against Texas again. Why not rotate some guys around, move some parts around?
Yeah, I don't think again, I think the quarterback, we'll see how it plays out, but Calzada's going to have a leash, I think, in this season. I don't think, like, if they get down, it's 7-3 at halftime at Toledo, the offense is laboring a little bit. I don't know if we'll see Cutter Boley.
I don't think so either. And here's my thing too: is I kind of just the college football fan in me who grew up with Spurrier doing God knows what with his quarterbacks and watched them do the Shane Boyd, Jared Lorenzen juggle there for a little bit back with Rich Brooks. Brian Brom, LaFours going in and out. Like, I kind of like it in college football where you have some of these, well, we just got to play 2 guys because that would never happen in the NFL. I don't know how much I like it for my own team. I would prefer if one guy was just being the guy.
Again, though, how many times have we talked about, and how many times have you talked about, and people in the stadium complained about not having a backup quarterback?
Yeah. No, and that
So
got
now you're upset that they have two quarterbacks.
yeah. No, that brings me to my I think the most annoyed I ever got with the quarterback controversy was Terry Wilson in 2018 because he had a ceiling to what he could give you, but when everybody was wanting to bench Terry because the offense stunk, I'm like, guys, look what else you got. You're gonna put Danny Clark in there. You're gonna put Gunnar Hoke in there. Like it wasn't going to be better. This will be the first time that if Calzada is struggling, then okay, yeah, give the other guy a shot. But it all comes back to what you said earlier, Luckett, and that's what has my galaxy brain, my Brian Windhorse fingers. Like we're talking about this instead of Seth McGowan and Dante Dowdell not taking a snap during live scrimmages. That's what's important to me. That's what's important to this offense. They're basically saying we don't need the tryout for those guys. We saw them take 400 live snaps in college. We don't want to risk them anymore. So, you know what?
It's more so to me just, one, we don't know how hurt McGowan is. He's definitely got an injury.
Well, and I don't even know if he's injured or if it is load management and Stoops just doesn't want to say it's load management because it sounds soft.
Well, I don't know this. Jeff Drummond reported that he was in a boot on Saturday.
Bootgate.
But that can mean just he's got like a mild ankle sprain.
Yeah.
But
little turf toe.
To me, what happened last year, they feel like, I think one of the things that they don't really talk about, they feel like Chip got hurt and that almost torpedoed the plan.
Yeah.
Because he was, now there's people have strong opinions on how good of a player Trainum is, but that was their plan. So they didn't have him and they didn't have the running back depth. This year they have the running back depth, but they don't want to lose it before they even start the games, right? Mm-hmm. If running back is a position, they take a pounding, you can get beat up, and even in a practice like that, you're going to get beat up. So and these guys know how to play. And then once the season starts, those guys, they're light on running backs in practice.
Yeah.
So they just want to get to the season, I think, with them. So with Dowdell being held out, that seems more precautionary in nature. But I do worry about kind of what really is McGowan's, status going in this season. But I think it presented an opportunity for Patterson and Wilcox to really compete and try to earn a spot and gain some experience. Specifically Patterson, if he is ahead of Wilcox, he doesn't really have any game action, so giving him as many reps as possible I don't think is the worst idea there. And teams holding players out of these scrimmages is not crazy. You see what happens in the NFL. Not everyone is a lunatic fringe Joe Burrow that wants to play in the preseason. A lot of these teams sit out because they've proven it to a certain level. But it is weird.
Just like Caleb Williams, he's proven it. He doesn't need to play anymore in the preseason.
Dowdell was here for spring.
Yeah.
He played in scrimmages in spring. He played in the spring game. He was one of the few guys that actually played in that spring game.
Oh, was it a spring game? My thing is more so is the one thing you cannot prove in practice is rushing the passer. Can you get the quarterback to the ground? And you're never going to. But the other part is that's Dowdell's strength, but have you seen it? And you haven't. So that's just part of the mystery that's out there and makes me feel a little weird. The one thing I do, if we're just doing straight up vibe checks, the one thing I do feel better about Luckett, I know I have to see it and they have to earn it, but I kind of like what I'm hearing about the offensive line and how they've performed throughout this fall camp, because a lot of this was just going to be rep base, camaraderie base, bonding. How quickly can you get these five guys to gel together? And everything I've heard from the players directly, from people I've spoken to around the program, Mark Stoops, that's one thing that he hasn't thrown a lot of gas on many fires, but that's one that he has been very open and public about, is his confidence in the improved play in the offensive line. Now, where does that mean they rank up in the SEC ranks? I don't know, but I would think that if this offensive line is as good as they say it is, then they should dominate the trenches against Toledo.
Yes, we're going to dive into that matchup next week, but the biggest advantage on both sides of the ball they're going to have in this game, which you would expect, is in the trenches. Now, Toledo's strength is probably their secondary, so So I do worry, like, if you get in a situation where you have to pass with a bunch of new receivers, new quarterback, I wouldn't want to be in that kind of situation, but they should control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football in this game. That's really going to be how Kentucky controls this game. Now, if they don't come out and they're not winning that battle, I would be, and you're watching that in the first quarter, I would be really, really nervous. Because they have some, I think, receivers and experienced quarterback, and then it's that playmaking secondary that could put the game with turnover.
Well, and not even just from the Toledo game, but big picture-wise, too. Like, this is the strength of the team is the team, but it's in the run game, and it's in the trenches.
And I do want to touch on that Stoops quote. I know a lot of people were making fun of that.
Oh, I love it.
But that is what I was talking about when I talked about the Citrus Bowl, the South Carolina, Illinois. Like, watching those two teams was how I thought Kentucky used to play.
Yeah.
Playing for each other, playing as a team, playing with your hair on fire in all positions. We didn't see that last year.
No.
Last couple of years, I would say, for the most part. Some games we did, not consistently. That's what they have to get back to. And that's more of kind of, I think, what Stoops was alluding to there.
Well, and it goes back to the lack of star power. You're trying to win kind of a war of numbers. With depth, that summarizes that well. The strength of the team is the team. I know there's some people out there who don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Mike Tomlin's the standard is the standard. But this is, Stoops loves some Mike Tomlin. This is a very Tomlin-esque sort of tagline to hold on to. So I'm all for it if the team's strength is the team and they actually play like it. Because that gets back to I think the root of all of the disenfranchised Kentucky football fans out there. It's not just that they lost close games or what. It's mostly the way they played, right? Like
yes.
there was a very clear brand of football that Mark Stoops played, and you know what? It wasn't always the sexiest, but it was like.
Well, they just didn't handle adversity. Like, they did not handle adversity well. And then this past year, they got hit with a sledgehammer early, when typically that sledgehammer arrives in like week 6 of the season. So they had one response to it, and then when adversity hit again, they just couldn't fight back.
Because the strength of the team was not the team. They were a lot of self-inflicted mistakes, a lot of just poor football. So we need to get back to that. We need to get back to seeing quality football. And speaking of seeing quality, that Angels Envy Distillery in downtown Louisville's pretty awesome, Mr. Luckett.
That's what I keep hearing.
Yeah. I haven't been inside. I've driven past and I'm like, ooh, I need to get in there. And what I'd really like to do, especially we got this fantasy football draft coming up. What would be nice if we were smart about it is you can go pick out a barrel, you thieve a little bourbon from it, and you get to taste different kinds, pick your barrel. What would be smart is if, as a fantasy football league, we all picked out a barrel and then got it bottled. Like, these are our fantasy football bottles. I won the league last year, so they should cover my cost. But it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, and it's going to be a great experience at Angels Envy Distillery.
Speaking of that, we'll have some type of picks contest, ATS.
Yeah. Oh, between you and I, a little.
How about, like,
some Angels Envy on the line?
I'm thinking loser maybe have to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House or something. And Pete can go record it.
And then the winner's just sipping some delicious Angels Envy bourbon.
We'll have to find something we can do there.
Remember, though, you got to be 21 and over to drink, but minors can go on the tour, see everything there is to see down in downtown Louisville, part of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. Angels Envy Distillery, drink responsibly. Enjoy yourself some Angels Envy at your tailgates at Kroger Field this fall. Look at it. It kind of feels like tailgate weather today, though.
Yeah, we've gotten some good weather here. Heat wave hit us again, but you can almost feel fall.
Have you checked the weather forecast for August 30th yet?
I have not.
Oh man, it could be good. It could be bad.
Bad in what way?
We might have some ponchos. Which. It's worse things to do, but if it keeps it under 80...
Whatever happens, no car fires.
Oh, gosh, yeah, we can't have a car fire. We don't need a lightning storm, too. Yeah. I mean, what a...
You can see Pete laying down on the Kroger field surface for an hour.
He was down and out for the count, man. He was depressed.
He was in a great headspace there for a little bit.
Right now, high of 82, partly cloudy.
That's perfect if that'll
If it holds, we need that to hold because there's been some, these forecasts are way out. But right now, I checked yesterday, it said rain. Now it's saying, not rain. But 82?
Well, you got to think early too. It'll be nice. You might need a light quarter zip.
Oh, yeah, especially for I know our wives, they're the kind that if it's touching 70, they need to wear a parka.
Yeah, some of the youth nowadays want to wear a sweatshirt.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the sweatshirt in the morning. I'll tops off though. Tarps off for the game. 84, that's perfect. So hopefully we get some perfect weather. When Toledo comes to town to open the season next Saturday, it got me thinking I'm injecting all of the college football previews in my brain because I'm just my wheels are spinning and thinking about that week 1 slate. I want LSU, just for LSU fans, I want them to win that game so badly against Clemson. Because it's
a win-win. You get to hate on Dabo if he loses.
Yeah.
Hate on Brian Kelly if he loses. It's a win-win for everyone involved.
Yeah, and it's one of those two.
It doesn't really matter for either team because both teams have a path to the playoff.
Right. And I think both teams will be in the playoff, but it's still just a matter of I kind of want the T-Bob meltdown again after the season opening loss. 5 straight season opening losses for LSU.
Yeah, I think since Burrow left, they haven't won a season opener. I think it started with Mike Leach went in there and beat them COVID, and then they haven't won a season opener.
And Bo Pelini, they couldn't guard a crossing route, a mesh pattern.
Threw for 280 yards on mesh.
Yeah. Oh man, gosh, I'm so excited. We got to get back to Kentucky football because they're here to listen to us talk Kentucky football, right? Are you alarmed at all that they aren't saying anything about the wide receiver? Not that they aren't saying anything, but that it's we went from Kendrick Law, the passing offense, and go through him, to there is no wide receiver 1. You will have to break our arms for us to say a name.
Well, to me, that's kind of expected. We just have to go back to our notes and what we thought, our preconceived notions about this room heading into fall camp. Nothing has really changed to me. Jamore Macklin's a starter. They're going to play him outside. They're going to run him on vertical routes. We think he's going to be a boomer bust player. I think it'll kind of play out that way. Kendrick Law is going to be the jet sweep slot receiver, gadget / quick game route runner. Can he win on routes down the field is a big question mark. Can he win on crossers and square ends and out routes and all that stuff to get open?
And can he shed tacklers once he makes the reception?
I think that he will. He's going to be. I project him to be a good kind of yak runner. I mean, he's going to be a big time upgrade as a blocker. I think that's going to show up pretty quickly. But he's going to be maybe he's my favorite to be their leading receiver. And then after that, you're going to have a rotation of guys. How fast can Harley Gilmore build the trust to be out there all the time?
Right.
Because he's probably the most talented guy in the room. Troy Stellato, he's a true slot receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Fred Ferrier are going to kind of be your guys, I think, in that short to intermediate game on third down or when you need a catch.
But he's also fragile.
Yeah, but I think to the depth point, they've got him and Ferrier. I think they feel like both guys can do that. And then after that, it's kind of where does J.J. Hester fit in? Can he be another vertical guy to go with Macklin? And then some of your younger guys, like David Washington impressed in the spring. We haven't heard much about him. And then DJ Miller. He's the one freshman I think has got a legit chance to play some this year.
Especially because he just is different. Yeah, they don't have anybody else on the team like him.
He's a true X, and I think you can
big old boy.
Whether they have
right.
that on the roster. So could that, if he comes along, can he become a factor? He's more of a guy I think probably won't see him a lot earlier, but when we get in October, November,
and
then he's a guy if Kentucky plays in a bowl game, could be. All of a sudden you look up and he's the second wide receiver or something. He's a big part of their future. And so I think he's going to be a guy that kind of try to work in slowly. Not that much different than Gilmore last year, but Gilmore got hurt, so you didn't really see him for 6 weeks.
Something happened yesterday, when I was talking to the players, talking to the team, talking to Shiash Pete. Fun guy to talk to, fun guy to chat with. And I asked him just a simple question. And it's always the best questions you can really ask a lot of these guys in the preseason settings is, who you battling with on the other side? right? They're almost as good of a resource as the coaches are when it comes to talking about how players are performing. And I heard a name like it that I haven't really heard since spring practice. McQueen Humphrey Grace. He was talking about some of the most challenging guys to go up against, and that was one of those in one-on-ones. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is just because it is kind of weird how when Kentucky added him, we talked about him potentially being the superstar of the defense, their best player, and then it's just been kind of quiet. So I was at least encouraged to hear this, and the in Pete's words, the way he strains makes it challenging, right? Like that's one of those where you don't win when you think you've won the rep, you haven't, because he is still straining to try to get that last inch. And so that's where I wanted to say that to then ask you, how do you feel about the pass rush at the start of the season? Are we feeling confident, or is there some skepticism about whether or not they're going to be able to put some passers under duress, because they're going to be playing some good ones this year?
64 tackles, 18.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, first team FCS All-American last year for one of the better teams. South Dakota, who played in the SEC, they were playing the best teams in FCS last year.
Yeah.
So you got to think that that's not 100% going to translate, but you're going to get a good chunk of that playmaking translating. He's more of kind of a 4-3 defensive end, so when they play these even fronts, he's going to be a factor for Kentucky. And to me, like, there's so much volume that some players are just going to go under the radar a little bit in the preseason.
Yeah.
He's one of those players.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to play a monster role on this football team. He's kind of being overshadowed right now, in my opinion, because of David Gusta. But he's going to be a huge factor for them. And then, like, Josiah Hayes, no one's saying diddly squat about Josiah Hayes.
No.
Years ago, he was freaking awesome.
Yeah, he was, and especially towards the back half of the year, you were like, oh, wow, this is the guy we thought he was going to be.
Before Louisville threw that touchdown that tied it, they were driving, and he gets the sack. And it looked like that won them the game.
Yeah.
At that point. Like, he was awesome last year, or in 2023. You get him back. So, like, I think a lot of it is going under the radar with the defense. Nick, I'm really high on the pass rush. We talked about it last week. I just kind of like kind of the bodies and the versatility they have, and I think they're going to have an interior rush with Gusta that they haven't really had in the past.
It's Calvin Taylor probably, or I guess Dion. He would.
Humphrey
do
Grace
that.
brings you something as a defensive end, and then I like Cam Olds as kind of. I think Cam Olds can bring a play style similar to Tyrese Fearbury, except he's a little more experienced, a little bigger.
He's done it.
Yeah, and he's done it. At the MAC level, but he's coming off a career year, and he's going to be able, I think, to turn the corner as a rusher. So I'm high on the pass rush, and then I think from Landon Watson and Afari as kind of blitzing linebackers, and even Rayner as blitzing linebackers, more athleticism, they're going to be able to help you out. So I'm high on the pass rush. I think that's going to be the strength of the team, and the big worry with this defense to me is just the run. Stopping the run, creating second and sevens, creating third.
Yeah, getting obvious pass rush situations.
Then you can, because I think they can get a little creative with how they use some of their personnel. Steven Souls, how he factors in there. So I think a pass rush can be a strength of the team. It's just creating enough passing downs where that can really impact you. And that's why I go back to the line of scrimmage, because if Kentucky sets up that line of scrimmage, I think we could see that pass rush kind of pin their ears back and maybe make some plays in that first game.
When you just mentioned blitzing linebackers, I immediately thought of Trevin Wallace on delayed blitzes. How much fun was Trevin Wallace on delayed blitzes?
Well,
The guy was so good at that.
His second year was 2022.
Oh, he was bad out of hell. He was leading the SEC in sacks there for a couple weeks.
Right. There was a real...
Like going into that Ole Miss game.
Maybe it was 2023, because he did it, I think, Louisville game, he just kind of took it over that 2022 year. He had those couple sacks, he had an interception. Yeah, I think you could see something similar to that with this group.
Ah, man. See, you're getting me fired up, Luckett. This is what... Because I feel like it's a seesaw throughout the preseason of doom and gloom versus, oh, we're going to be awesome. And sometimes, even for me, it's a not even a day-by-day seesaw. It's an hour-by-hour where I'm riding the roller coaster of emotions, like, oh, they're going to win this, oh, they're going to do that. So, vibe check. Where's your brain? Where's your heart right now?
I want to say this about the defense. We'll get to that.
Okay. Oh, he's got that.
Plus is I'm up to spread.
He's got the advanced stats spreadsheet up right now.
They've had a top 40 defense, Nick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row. I bet a lot of money they'll probably have a top 40 defense again. Now, what's the ceiling? Is it going to be as good as the 22 or the 2018 defenses? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they've got a chance to be kind of a top 25 to top 30 defense. Like, there's going to be opponents where they get overwhelmed against.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a couple games where they can win you the damn game. And so that's what we're going to have from this defense this year. Defense is almost, you know what you're going to get. The big question is just, like, hello, offensive line. We haven't talked about you enough. But that's what this whole thing revolves around. So for me, here's my bigger takeaway on the season, Nick. And this is what I really think how the season is going to go. After the sixth game.
Yep.
Sixth game is.
Voice cracked a little there. That's how excited
Texas.
I am. Yep.
October 18th. Arch is coming to town. We're going to Burnt Orange is going to be at Keeneland.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a tough game to win.
They're not going to be able to get tickets though.
Kentucky's going to head into the dreaded Tennessee home game. They need to be 3-3 or better. If they are 3-3 and better, every year with SEC schedule, you're going to play kind of a top 10 national championship contender. You're going to play multiple.
Yeah.
The goal is to not play more than 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, I think they play 2. I think they play Georgia and Texas. They just have to be consecutive games. And they're early in the year.
Yeah.
But so you're going to enter the October 25th stretch. Now, the problem is you're not going to have any bye weeks. But maybe that's a good thing because Kentucky stinks off bye weeks. You've got 6 games in a row, and you've got, I would say, probably you could argue 6 of your most winnable games on the schedule outside of the beginning. You've got Tennessee at home, at Auburn, Florida at home, Tennessee Tech at home, at Vanderbilt, at Louisville. If you're 3-3, all you got to do, Nick, is go 3-3 in that stretch, and you're going bowling.
Yeah.
Which seems feasible.
Yeah. And going 3-3 at the front end too seems feasible when you consider, okay, you beat Ole Miss last year on the road. You're getting them at home. They lost all of their talent.
Yeah, because Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida, and I would throw even like South Carolina and Ole Miss into this.
Yeah, like
all these teams are like getting some playoff buzz.
Yeah,
but some of these teams are going to take losses, and some of these teams are going to end up 7-5 and 6-6.
Yeah, it's
you're
just
going to get probably a game or two against those teams at home. Those are games.
Yeah, you can
win.
Yeah, right, and a lot of what the playoff buzz is riding on is quarterback play, right? Florida, DJ Lagway, South Carolina, Lenore Sellers. Well, DJ Lagway, he seems to be one hit away from needing to go out on a stretcher. And so you wonder about just his durability and can he do it for a whole season? And Lenore Sellers is doing it with almost an entirely new supporting cast. I know that game's on the road. It's a little bit different. And then Auburn. They've been fun this month. Where is... What's the state of the program when you go down to the happiest little town on the plains, right? Like that is.
What is the first picture when I go?
It's a golf picture.
Can't make this up.
But like, Hughes throwing his visor on the ground. He's talking about playing 3 quarterbacks. They're retiring Cam's jersey, and now they're claiming 4 more national titles. That's very much like you do this sort of stuff to build up some goodwill because you might be running into a buzzsaw later. So to your point, Luckett, in this month, there's a lot of, we aren't the only people who talk themselves into their team. The national analysts talk themselves into teams that have probably an average of 7-5, 8-4 of them being a game or 2 better. And Kentucky has a lot of those teams on the schedule. And to your point, the advanced stats might not say it in the spread right away, but that should be a 1-score game that Kentucky plays closely, right? Uh-huh. It's just, the problem is history with some of those teams isn't great. Recent history with South Carolina, you haven't won at Auburn but once since the 60s. And then Tennessee, I don't need to tell you the history with Tennessee. We'd be foolish to pick Kentucky to win that game. But those are all very winnable games on paper. It's just what is going to be the state of each team whenever you step into those games. And that's why when you're piecing together the puzzle, it isn't ludicrous to say, oh, yeah, they can do this. Because they should be able to do this if they don't fold like a cheap, what is it, cheap paper?
Cheap tent.
Cheap tent, yeah, there we go. I don't want to say paper was thinking fold like a sack of potatoes. That's the drop like a sack of potatoes.
Yes.
Drop them like a sack of potatoes, yeah.
I've heard folded like a piece of paper before.
Or a cheap table, like the ones Bills fans jump through.
Shaking like a $2 TV.
Where was it where the Bills fans bought up all the tables? Was it like they went on the road and they bought up all the tables to jump through? You ever jump through a table like it?
I have not. I've seen in college.
Yeah,
Guys.
we had a friend. He was if beer pong was going bad, he would jump on the table. I was more of I like to kick holes in drywall. That was my if I was really getting after it and something went down, it's like let's take it out on the drywall.
A guy in high school, he carved out that where he became jump through the table guy at a party every weekend.
Every weekend?
Yeah, but most of the times it got so crazy that he would do. Multiple tables were going down.
See that's.
So if you had a party, you were getting a table broken.
I have in my older age, after putting back a couple of those cold Cokes, I've become the belly flop guy. Which belly flop guy is fun because it's pretty temporary and everybody's watching you and they want to see the belly flop. Becoming the table guy, I feel like you would almost be the clown putting on your makeup every weekend. Here we go again.
Once or twice, it's funny.
But then,
and then it becomes like an unexpected.
Yeah, I'm just
table. Like you almost have to be. It's a party trick everyone wants to see.
Right, but do you really I'm just trying to lay low tonight. Do I need to jump through the table? And also, those tables ain't cheap. I digress. I don't know where we were going.
Well, back to the schedule. The home streak. We got to talk that's long.
Yep.
Ole Miss, and then Tennessee, Texas is going to be tough. Excuse me, but Tennessee plays Alabama the week before they come to Kroger Field. Florida plays Georgia in the cocktail party.
It's a trap.
Kroger Field. So consecutive kind of road games for both those teams.
Mm-hmm.
We all know the Tennessee history, but Kentucky's had success against Florida.
They won 4 out of 6.
It's setting up where you got to almost get one of those.
Which somebody mentioned it on KS Board today, which you aren't on there. If you aren't on there, UK1's a code that'll get you 2 months of access to KSR Plus. We're going to have some great scouting reports coming up, advanced scouting reports from Adam Luckett next week before each game. But somebody mentioned it. If you beat Louisville, Florida, Tennessee, they were talking about beating all 3 of them. But if you beat 2 of them, that's a good year in the history of Kentucky football. And beating 2 of them is on the table. Right, you aren't a crazy person to say that out loud, even if you just look at the preseason top 25 ratings. Right, that's not crazy talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think so.
So let's go out there and do it. I guess you would say Tennessee is probably the most susceptible.
Yeah, again, you have to see how the season shakes out. When I did my kind of deep dive on Florida at KSR Plus this week, really good on the line of scrimmage. They've got some young receivers. They got a nice 1-2 punch at tailback. They've really got a well-rounded roster, and with Lagway, it's that team can be really scary. But they're thin at a couple positions, and what happened? We don't know what's going to happen with Lagway. In Tennessee,
he could be a Heisman, or he could be plays half the year.
In Tennessee, their defense should be pretty good. They'll probably take a little bit of a step back, but offensively, they're still good. They show they have a high floor with Heupel, but they're not the explosive play jump teams. Have kind of figured them out a little bit. Now, what's that? He didn't have the quarterbacks the last 2 years. Now, can he be more can he hit more vertical shots down the field to open everything up? We'll see. But you have to think offensively, they're probably going to be about the same, maybe a little bit worse, and they had to replace Dylan Sampson, who was their offense last year. So, yeah, you would think Tennessee will be the most susceptible, but we've seen what that series is.
Yeah.
You can't really go, that's the one they got to get. And then Florida, that's what everyone's wanted for a long time. Florida's coming to Lexington in November.
Oh, snow game? Have you ever? I was asking my radio partner. Have you ever been to a snow game?
We went to a Bengals Steelers game. This was Andy Dalton era.
Okay. Well, Red Rifle.
It snowed that game.
See,
not crazy though. It was but what's snowing at some one point?
Because I've had practices in high school where there was some snow flurries, but it wasn't in the snow. I've never experienced a snow football game. That would be awesome. Give me that. Let's make it snow on Florida.
Next time,
man, imagine seeing all those coats on the sideline huddled up against those heaters.
Next time we have an ice bowl somewhere, we'll drive and we'll go.
Oh,
we'll
man.
just make our action trip one day when it's snowing. Drive up to State.
Heck yeah. Maybe a little Miami, Ohio on a Tuesday night in November. Sign me up for that. Sign me up for some Roback gear too. Their gear, they do have some really cold weather gear too. I saw like some of the fuzzy sweaters, with the crazy patterns, the fleece. Those look nice. I got new Q-zip. It was time for a new Q-zip. Like it. They've got the best Q-zips. They've got the best polos, hoodies, the best fabric. It's the most comfortable and the best looking gear out there. Check out the game day collection now. Get you some new Kentucky gear before Kentucky football season kicks off. And use promo code KSR to get 20% off your first purchase at roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Mr. Luckett, it's the last weekend before it all. Do you have, how do you celebrate the last weekend before the madness begins? Because I feel like the last week is like, oh my gosh, I've got to do X, Y, and Z because we're about to hit the ground running.
A lot of post ideas I have in the queue. I'm not going to get to them all, unfortunately. I don't know. I just ready for the fatigue.
Oh man, the extra coffees. I'm fired up for those.
I'm ready to get in the routine of it. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting my final rounds of golf in.
Yeah.
It's like let's not check these boxes before everything gets going. The other part too is just making sure that we've got this thing humming, so that when the routine starts, we're not throwing off, right? Like we're making lunches in the morning before we send the kids off to school.
Is like if
the Kroger Field coffee. That's what you're looking forward to.
Kansas State loses, like reading other people's messages boards.
Oh man!
Online and on 3 Network if they were to lose, and checking out what the fans are saying.
Man, Auburn.
It's a pastime. It's a fun. Like I'm laying down to bed, I'll just crisis mode, just go to their message board and read what's going on.
Who you like in Farmageddon? Because Iowa State lost a lot.
I like Kansas State, but the trend says Iowa State's kind of owned the series specifically as a dog, so that gives me worry.
Does it throw it off though? Just that it is where it is.
The one play might be the player picks. Maverick McIver, new Western Kentucky quarterback. They're doing the whole offensive transplant thing from Abilene Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I would look at his passing yards because I think they're going to throw the ball a lot.
I love that we get a nightcap at the Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah, and like how many over under 15 minutes of Andrew camera time.
Oh my! Oh yeah. Which they are. I mean, Stanford. You want to talk about a team that is going to stink out loud? They will probably be in a battle with Hawaii in the second half. It'll be like that Vanderbilt game a couple years back when they had week 0 against Hawaii.
Hawaii's kind of in a position where they might be able to get to like that 6-6, 7-5 threshold in the Mountain West this year, where they're not very good, but they've improved and they're much better than they were. Like remember they played Vandy down there a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a 2-10 or 5-7 Vanderbilt team.
Yeah,
and they just got smashed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not that Hawaii team. They've shown some improvement over time.
I want Dan Mullen to really set the tone out in Vegas too. I mean, he's got to do some sort of weird antic, right? Like he's got to have like a dice chain or something like that, or goes for it on 4th down. Maybe becomes Gambling Dan.
I'm excited to have him back for the memes.
There's going to be a meme. Oh man, it's going to be delightful. We're going to be watching some of that at KS Bar. A little party to kick things back off. It reopens for everybody on Tuesday.
So Kentucky, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a bold prediction or a couple bold predictions you want to share, or maybe that, and then maybe your biggest concern where things could go wrong?
I mean, my boldest prediction I've stuck to for a while is I think they're beating Ole Miss, but like I'm much milder in my hot takes because I think the floor is higher. So even if things do go wrong, that you'll still see a pretty decent product. My fear is just that a tackle gets hurt. Like that's really where I'm at. And it's not a shot at Malachi Wood because I think he can be fine in a pinch. But if you have one of those big SOBs go down in
specifically Pete would be to me.
Yeah. Like that, that's my biggest concern because the strength of the team is supposed to be the team. I can be talked into the depth at a lot of places, whether it's wide receiver, while I'm worried about him and I don't think there's a bunch of top end talent. Like, okay, the second guy's aren't as bad as the first guys. One guy gets hurt, you'll be fine. Secondary, defensive line, a lot of depth there. I'm a little worried about linebacker, but if Pete goes down, right, and I don't think he's going to be getting hot dogs from the concession stand like another offensive tackle, but like you can just see how things can really get sideways if you can't lean on the offensive line to have a solid run game, because that's where their ceiling is to be a team that can be as balanced as possible and then hit those downfield shots off play action. Use Zach Calzada's big ass arm to go get the ball down there. So that for me is my sort of worst case scenario. Here's where things can go wrong.
Yeah, I think if the offensive line isn't markedly better, I think they could be in real trouble. I think everything
goes back to the offensive line.
Everything they've done is kind of revolved around that. And I do worry about, I know Mark Stoops is saying 8 guys. I do worry about that a little bit if they were to have an injury, what that does to them.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think, again, I've talked about the defense. I have confidence in that. Kicker's an unknown, which could matter for a team. Maybe in a close game.
How weird was it that Kentucky had its most accurate kicker ever and they didn't kick that many field goals? I mean, that's part of why he was, but I think they only attempted 17 and 19 during his 2 years here. Like, can we kick some more? Maybe when you're down there on the 4-yard line not scoring. That's the part that, like, that's one other thing that I think will get Kentucky fans fired up. This team should be able to get hard yards again. And that was...
That's the Dowdell, that's his role on the football team.
And that was such a... We didn't realize that it was going to be such a point of pride for us, but you saw Benny Snell do what he did, and it really helped get rid of the air raid mindset that you've talked about in the past for this fan base. Where, okay, we don't have to win with a gimmick. We can just out hard ass you, right? Like, we can just grit our teeth and do it.
Win playing a ground and pound style.
And so I think just being able to see that, being able to convert a 3rd and 2, a 4th and 1, like that week 1, like I'm fired up for that, man.
Yeah, I'm probably going to republish this story this week, and also like Zach Calzada as a play action passer.
That can be
awesome.
Yeah.
At all his stops.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can establish the run, he's proven that he can be very effective.
He's got a big arm. You got some fast guys. Go down there and catch it.
I pulled the numbers. He was the most effective short yardage running back in college football last year.
Love that.
So like just from a spreadsheet standpoint, an analytics standpoint, like Kentucky, we stink it out. They stink at short yardage. Go find the best guy. And they did that.
Yeah.
They literally did that.
Yeah.
So, will that play out in the games? I think that's important to see because that's going to be his role. And this week when they're talking about different plays for different, what I perceive that as, that's like, we get in the red zone or get short yardage, number 2's going in the football game, which is Dante Dowdell. And so that is his role. But again, all that kind of goes back to the offensive line, even the play action stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It all goes back to the offensive line. That would be my biggest concern. Kicker, I will say it sounds like Coway's going to be first up, but this Zach Schreiner guy they got from Sacramento State.
They basically said, hey,
he's basically out, he was FCS Alex Rayner.
He's our insurance policy. Yeah, if Coway can't split it, then this guy will get the job done.
75-ish make percentage, has never missed an extra point. Like he is, if we have any trouble at all, but if we're within a 42-yard field goal, we feel like things going in. Specifically, like once we get in the red zone, we know we got points with this guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go to him. And then Aiden Laros, when he is on and consistent, he's one of the best punters in college football. So you get that more consistently. Can we avoid the automatic 38-yard punts? So he's going to be a big weapon too. Specifically, if they're able to run the ball and kind of set the terms of the game, ball control offense, like field position becomes huge.
Mm-hmm. Love that we're ending with a little punter talk. Love that Monocello Bank had us out here on their Nicholsville location, which is just on the outskirts of town, near King Trace, Harrodsburg Road. They got plenty of locations, 20 across the Commonwealth. You can also visit them online at nbcbank.com. We have some chats out here about, using a little money to make some money, but whether you're looking for a new home, buying a car, trying to unlock your home equity, maybe do some improvements around the house. Here's the thing, you don't even have to do this year. Now, if you're thinking about getting a pool in, you got to start planning now. Monocello Bank, let them take care of you. They've been your local bankers across the Commonwealth since the 1800s. It was a long, long time ago. Monocello Bank, it's where people matter. They've been with 11 personnel for a long time. We greatly appreciate them. We'll be back with you next Wednesday previewing the Toledo game. But we're also going to do a little KSR football podcast on Monday. And I'm very fired up for this year's 4th co-host because he's a guy who he does his homework. He actually might do more homework than you, Luckett.
We're going to have some fun conversations.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and he's going to stir it up. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're fired up to show that off to you. We'll be going live Monday afternoon. I'll let the cat out of the bag and let you know our fourth co-host this weekend. But until then, we appreciate you joining us on 11 Personnel. For Adam Luckett, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats.